I'm Dr. Emma Collins, a biomedical scientist with a PhD in biomedical science, specializing in nutrition and the science of aging. For decades, we've been given a simple promise to stay strong. After 60, just eat more protein, especially eggs. Yet millions follow that advice and still feel their strength, their stability, and their independence slowly slipping away. This is the painful reality. You're doing what you've been told, but it isn't working. So what is the secret? The investigation into this problem has revealed it's not about eating more protein. It's about a cellular shutdown that happens in our muscles, something scientists call anabolic resistance. And our research has uncovered a stunning truth that has been overlooked for years. The answer isn't a new drug, it's a humble vegetable hiding in plain sight. And here's the kicker. This single vegetable contains unique phytonutrients that don't just supply building blocks. They send a powerful signal that actually reignites your muscles' ability to grow. It reverses the problem at the source. So, if you're over 60, if you felt that frustrating loss of grip strength, or you just feel a little less steady on your feet, please stay with me. You are about to discover exactly what this vegetable is and how to use it to reclaim the strength you thought was gone for good. If any of this sounds familiar to you, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. And be sure to like and subscribe, because you will not want to miss the solution we are about to uncover. All right, so let's start with the foundation. To truly understand the solution, we first need to get to the heart of the problem. Why does this happen? Why does it feel like the body that served you so well for decades suddenly seemed to be working against you after you passed 60 or 65? It's not in your head. It's a real biological process. A perfect storm of cellular changes that creates an environment where muscle struggles to survive, let alone thrive. This is the deep science of why we lose muscle. At the very center of this story are the microscopic engines inside every single cell of your body. They are called mitochondria. Think of them quite literally as the power plants for your muscles. When you were younger, these power plants were brand new, running at peak efficiency, churning out enormous amounts of energy. This energy, in the form of a molecule called ATP, is what fuels everything. Every step you take, every object you lift, and most importantly, the constant process of repairing and rebuilding your muscle tissue. In your youth, your body was rich with this energy. But as we age, a predictable shift occurs. These power plants, the mitochondria, begin to decline. It happens in two ways. First, their numbers start to shrink. There are simply fewer of them available. Second, the ones that remain become less efficient. They start producing less energy, and as a byproduct of that inefficiency, they create more cellular pollution, more exhaust fumes in the form of damaging free radicals. This creates a vicious cycle. The less energy you have, the harder it is for your cells to clean up this damage and repair themselves. The more damage accumulates, the more it harms the remaining mitochondria. It's a slow, cascading failure of your body's energy grid. This is why you might feel a type of fatigue that sleep doesn't seem to fix. It's a cellular fatigue, a sign that your power plants are struggling to keep up with demand. Without sufficient energy, muscle repair becomes a low-priority task for the body. It's like trying to run a factory on a dwindling power supply. The first thing to shut down is the renovation and expansion department. Now, running in the background of this energy crisis is another, more subtle process. Researchers have given it a name. They call it inflammaging. It's a combination of the words inflammation and aging. This isn't the loud, obvious inflammation you feel from a sprained ankle. That's acute inflammation, and it's a healthy, necessary part of healing. Inflammaging is different. It's a chronic, low-grade, systemic inflammation. Imagine it as a constant, low hum of static throughout your entire body, a background noise that never truly shuts off. This static interferes with all the important communication signals within your body. It's like trying to have a clear phone conversation during a storm. One of the most important signals that gets disrupted is the one for insulin, the hormone that helps shuttle nutrients from your blood into your cells. When this signal gets fuzzy because of inflammation, your muscle cells become resistant to insulin's message. They have a harder time absorbing the very amino acids and glucose they need to repair and grow. So, even if you're eating the right foods, that persistent inflammatory stress can prevent the nutrients from ever reaching their destination. It's a critical roadblock that prevents nourishment from becoming strength. And finally, we have the third major factor in this perfect storm: our hormones. The word hormones can often be misunderstood, but in this context, think of them as the master conductors of your body's orchestra. They are the chemical messengers that tell your body when to build things up and when to break things down. In our youth, the orchestra is dominated by anabolic hormones, the building hormones. The most famous of these are testosterone, growth hormone, and a powerful molecule called insulin-like growth factor 1, or IGF-1. These hormones are constantly sending loud, clear signals to your muscles, telling them to grow stronger, to repair damage, and to synthesize new proteins. But after we pass middle age, the volume on these anabolic signals begins to turn down, year after year. The signals become quieter, less frequent, the body becomes less responsive. It's not a sudden cliff you fall off, but a slow, gradual descent. With these powerful growth signals fading, the balance of power shifts. The body starts to listen more to the breakdown signals. This hormonal shift is a natural part of aging, but it dramatically changes the internal environment of your body. It moves from a state of constant growth and repair to a state that favors conservation and breakdown. So let's put all of this together with a simple analogy that makes it easy to visualize. Imagine your muscles are a large construction site. When you're young, this site is bustling with activity. The construction foreman, which represents your body's growth signaling pathway, is sharp, energetic, and constantly shouting orders to build. The workers, your mitochondria, are young, full of energy, and have brand new tools, working tirelessly around the clock. The supply trucks bringing in materials like protein and nutrients have clear roads to get to the site. But as the years go by, the construction site begins to change. The foreman gets older, a bit sluggish. He spends more time on his coffee break, and his instructions to build are less frequent, less forceful. The workers, the mitochondria, are tired. Their tools are old and inefficient, and there are fewer of them on the job. To make matters worse, debris and trash, representing that low-grade inflammation, have started to pile up all over the site. This debris clutters the pathways, making it difficult for the supply trucks to deliver their materials. The blueprint to build stronger muscle is still there. The building materials, the protein you eat might even be sitting right outside the gate. But the energy, the coordination, and the clear signals to actually begin the work, they are all missing. This is the cellular reality of sarcopenia. This is why, even if your diet doesn't change, you can lose as much as 3 to 8% of your muscle mass per decade after 60. And it's not just about looks or the ability to lift heavy things. Losing that muscle means losing your body's primary site for glucose disposal, which can lead to blood sugar problems. It means losing the natural armor that supports your joints, leading to instability and pain. It means losing the very tissue that keeps you resilient and able to bounce back from illness or injury. But here is the good news. This is not a one-way street. The research is very clear that muscle loss is not inevitable. It's a condition, not a sentence. By understanding these mechanisms, the mitochondrial decline, the inflammation, the hormonal shifts, we can target them directly. We can begin to systematically clean up that construction site, re-energize the workers, and amplify the foreman's signals. It is absolutely possible to rebuild and preserve lean mass well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. And the key to doing this might not be what you think. Which brings us to one of the most persistent myths in this entire conversation: the idea that one particular food is the ultimate solution. All right, now let's tackle the belief that has been ingrained in us for generations. The idea that eggs are the perfect protein. For decades, they've been celebrated as the gold standard for building muscle. They're relatively inexpensive, they are packed with nutrients, and crucially, they contain all 9 essential amino acids, making them a complete protein. That reputation is certainly well-deserved. Eggs are, without a doubt, a high-quality source of protein and a valuable food. But the belief that they are the single best way to stimulate muscle growth especially for older adults, deserves a much closer look. Because when you examine the science carefully, when you look past the headlines and into the cellular details, it becomes clear that eggs are not the only answer. And in some very important ways, they may not even be the best answer for someone over 60. The nuance lies right here. The muscle-building potential of a food is not just determined by how many grams of protein it contains. That's just one part of the equation. The real question is how effectively that protein can activate what's called muscle protein synthesis. That's the scientific term for the process of actually repairing and building new muscle tissue. This effectiveness depends on a few key factors: the specific composition of its amino acids, how easily it's digested and absorbed, and, most importantly, how the body's metabolic pathways respond to that food as a whole. And this is where things get fascinating. When researchers started comparing different protein sources in older adults, they found something remarkable. They discovered that certain plant-based proteins, particularly those found in dark green vegetables like spinach and cruciferous plants like broccoli and kale, could stimulate a similar, and in some cases, even greater anabolic signal when consumed in sufficient amounts. The reason for this is profound. These vegetables contain more than just protein. They contain a symphony of other compounds, phytonutrients, nitrates, antioxidants, that work together to address the root causes of age-related muscle loss. They don't just deliver the building blocks, they help to fix the construction site. Let's get specific and talk about our hero vegetable, spinach. A single cooked cup of spinach contains roughly 5 to 6 grams of protein. But it's what comes with that protein that makes all the difference. Spinach is incredibly rich in nitrates. Now, when you hear the word nitrates, you might think of the preservatives in processed meats like bacon, which are not good for you. The naturally occurring nitrates in vegetables are completely different. They are incredibly beneficial. When you consume these plant-based nitrates, your body converts them into a powerful molecule called nitric oxide. Think of nitric oxide as your body's own natural circulation booster. It relaxes and widens your blood vessels, a process called vasodilation. This improved blood flow means more oxygen and more nutrients can be delivered directly to your muscle tissues, exactly when they need it most. It also helps your mitochondria use oxygen more efficiently, allowing them to produce more energy with less waste. So, the nitrates in spinach are directly helping to solve the energy crisis in your aging muscle cells. Now let's compare that to eggs. Eggs are very rich in an amino acid called leucine, which is famous for being a powerful trigger for that muscle-building hormone, the mTOR pathway. This is true, and it's a major reason for their reputation. They provide a strong signal to build. However, eggs also come with cholesterol and saturated fat. While not inherently bad, these may not be ideal for supporting cardiovascular or mitochondrial health when consumed in excess, especially in older adults who may be more sedentary. More importantly, eggs completely lack the powerful anti-inflammatory phytonutrients and the circulation-boosting nitrates that plant proteins do. So, here's the key distinction. Eggs provide the raw building blocks. Spinach provides both the building blocks and the tools, the improved energy supply, and the cleanup crew to help the muscles build more effectively. It's a more complete, more intelligent package. This isn't about vilifying eggs. They can still be a part of a healthy diet. This is about reframing the conversation. It's about shifting our focus from just protein quantity to protein quality and, more importantly, metabolic context. For someone over 60, the challenge isn't just getting enough protein. The challenge is making that protein actually work at the cellular level. And that is where vegetables rich in plant protein, micronutrients, and these powerful vasodilatory compounds offer a distinct advantage. And the research is beginning to confirm this. A significant study published in 2021 Inches, the prestigious Journal of Nutrition, looked at this very issue. The researchers found that older adults who consumed higher amounts of plant-based protein had better overall muscle function and experienced slower declines in strength compared to those who relied heavily on animal protein. When they looked for the reason why, the mechanism became clear. The group eating more plants had lower levels of systemic inflammation and measurably improved mitochondrial health. They weren't just feeding their muscles, They were improving the entire environment in which their muscles operate. This is a critical insight. You can deliver all the best building materials in the world, but if the construction site is a mess, nothing gets built. So now we're going to go even deeper. We're going to step inside the muscle cell and see exactly how these compounds from spinach activate the very same cellular switches that eggs do, but with a unique and powerful advantage. We'll explore how they manage to both build new muscle and improve the quality of your cellular engines at the same time. All right, let's step inside the muscle cell because this is where the real magic happens. Or, for many of us, where the real breakdown happens. Muscle growth is not just about the physical act of lifting weights or the simple act of eating protein. It's a complex biological process, a conversation happening at a microscopic level. It's about how well your cells interpret the signals you send them and translate those signals into action. Inside every single muscle fiber, there are intricate molecular switches that are constantly deciding whether your body should be in a state of building tissue or a state of breaking it down. The balance between these two states determines your body's anabolic potential, its ability to grow and get stronger. The two most important pathways in this entire decision-making process are known as mTOR and AMPK. Let's start with mTOR. The full name is the mechanistic target of rapamycin, but all you need to remember is that mTOR is the master regulator of growth. It is the construction manager. When you eat a protein-rich meal, especially one containing the amino acid leucine, or when you perform resistance exercise, you send a powerful go signal to mTOR. When mTOR is activated, it's like the foreman grabbing a megaphone and shouting, "All right, everyone, start building!" It kicks off the entire process of muscle protein synthesis, directing the cell to take amino acids from the bloodstream and assemble them into new muscle tissue. For decades, the entire focus of muscle building has been on finding ways to activate mTOR as strongly and as often as possible. On the other side of the coin, we have AMPK. The full name is adenosine monophosphate activated protein kinase, but you can think of AMPK as the energy auditor or the maintenance supervisor. AMPK's job is to constantly monitor the energy balance within the cell. When it senses that energy is low, perhaps because you are fasting or exercising intensely, AMPK becomes active. Its activation sends a very different message. It says, "Hold on, energy is scarce. We need to conserve resources and improve our efficiency." AMPK directs the body to burn fat for fuel, to clean up old, damaged cellular parts through a process called autophagy, and, most importantly, to build new and better mitochondria. It's the pathway of efficiency, resilience, and cleanup. Now, for a long time, most people, including many scientists, assumed that these two pathways were complete opposites, that they were locked in a constant battle. mTOR builds and AMPK breaks down. But this is a vast oversimplification. The reality is that for optimal muscle health, especially as we age, you don't want one to dominate the other. You need a coordinated dance between the two. You want powerful bursts of mTOR activation after exercise to stimulate growth, followed by periods of AMPK activation to clean up the microscopic damage, enhance your mitochondrial function, and restore metabolic efficiency. It's this rhythm, this cycle of building and then intelligently cleaning and refining that creates truly healthy, resilient muscle tissue. And this is precisely where plant proteins, and specifically the compounds within spinach, show their remarkable advantage. Spinach contains not only protein, but also a host of unique phytonutrients that can modulate both of these pathways. It's a dual activation. Let's look at the mTOR side first. Spinach contains a natural plant steroid compound called beta-ecdysterone. It sounds complex, but its function is straightforward. Both animal and human studies have shown that beta-ecdysterone can enhance muscle protein synthesis by directly signaling through the mTOR pathway. In some studies, its effects were shown to be even more powerful than some synthetic anabolic agents, but without any of the dangerous side effects. It's nature's own muscle-building signal. But at the very same time, other compounds in the spinach are working on the other side of the equation. The nitrates and polyphenols, which we've already discussed, are powerful activators of the AMPK pathway. They signal the cell to boost mitochondrial biogenesis, the creation of new mitochondria, through another key regulator called PGC1 alpha. This is the master switch for building endurance and improving how efficiently your muscles use energy. So, are you seeing the beautiful synergy here? You get the anabolic build signal from the beta-ectosterone, and at the same time, you get the mitochondrial renew and repair signal from the nitrates and polyphenols. This dual activation creates what I like to call the metabolic harmony zone. Your muscles receive both the instructions to grow larger and stronger, and the upgrade to their energy systems that keeps them efficient, oxygen-rich, and highly resistant to fatigue. Let's use another analogy to make this crystal clear. Imagine your muscle is a high-performance hybrid engine. You want both power and efficiency. Animal protein, like eggs, primarily fuels the power aspect. It's like hitting the gas pedal. It switches on growth. Plant compounds, like those in spinach, are different. They fuel the efficiency. They upgrade the engine's design itself, making it run longer, cleaner, and with less wear and tear. When you combine these effects, the result is a superior engine, stronger, more fatigue-resistant muscle tissue that literally ages more slowly. And this isn't just theory. It's backed by peer-reviewed research. A 2019 study published in the journal Frontiers in Physiology demonstrated that nitrate-rich vegetables, like spinach, directly improved muscle fiber efficiency and oxygen use in older adults. Another paper from 2022 reported that plant-based diets were shown to enhance mitochondrial respiration, which reduces oxidative stress in muscle cells. So, when you add spinach or similar vegetables to your diet, you are doing so much more than just feeding your muscles. You are fundamentally reprogramming them for longevity. You are improving both their structure and their function, which is exactly what aging muscle needs to regain its youthful resilience. But the story doesn't end there. Next, we are going to explore how the often overlooked micronutrients and other phytonutrients in this remarkable vegetable work together to reduce inflammation even further, improve muscle recovery, and amplify your body's response to protein, even in your 60s and 70s. Now that we have explored these major cellular pathways, let's take a deeper look at the unsung heroes of muscle preservation. These are the micronutrients and the phytonutrients. It's easy to get focused on the big three: protein, carbs, and fats. But these smaller compounds are not just optional extras. They are essential cofactors. They are the support crew that makes every single cellular process in your muscles work more efficiently. Without them, even the best, most expensive sources of protein cannot do their job effectively. It's like having a team of expert carpenters show up to a job site with no hammers, no nails, and no saws. The potential is there, but the work cannot be done. Here's what's happening at the microscopic level. Every time your muscle fibers repair themselves, whether it's after a workout or just from the stress of daily activity, hundreds of complex enzymatic reactions have to take place inside the cell. These reactions are the real work of rebuilding, and almost every single one of them requires specific vitamins and minerals as activators, as tiny spark plugs to make the reaction go. We're talking about things like magnesium, potassium, zinc, selenium, and a whole host of B vitamins. When these micronutrients are missing from your diet or are in short supply, that entire assembly line of protein synthesis slows to a crawl. The mitochondrial enzymes that produce energy start to misfire. And that low-grade inflammation we talked about begins to linger much longer than it should, further hindering the repair process. Spinach, the vegetable at the heart of our discussion today, offers an incredibly impressive profile of these nutrients, supporting nearly every single aspect of muscle metabolism. Let's focus on just a couple of the most critical ones. First, magnesium. A single cup of cooked spinach can contain about 150 milligrams of magnesium, which is a significant portion of your daily need. Magnesium is an absolute cornerstone of muscle health. It acts as a cofactor for the creation of ATP, your cell's energy currency. Without enough magnesium, your muscles literally cannot produce the energy they need to contract or to relax properly. A magnesium deficiency often leads directly to that feeling of fatigue, to muscle cramping, and to much slower recovery times after any kind of physical exertion. If you've ever experienced unexplained muscle cramps at night, low magnesium could very well be a contributing factor. Spinach is also loaded with potassium. Potassium is an electrolyte that works in a delicate balance with sodium to control cellular hydration and the electrical activity in your muscle fibers. Think of it as managing the fluid levels and the electrical signaling that allows your muscles to fire correctly. That balance is absolutely crucial for maintaining strength and for preventing what's called catabolism, the breakdown of muscle tissue, especially during periods of stress or exercise. When potassium levels are low, muscle weakness is one of the very first symptoms. But the micronutrients are only part of the story. Spinach is also a treasure trove of phytonutrients, which these special compounds that plants produce to protect themselves. And they can protect us too. Spinach is particularly rich in powerful antioxidants like quercetin, lutein, and kaempferol. Their main job is to neutralize the reactive oxygen species, also known as free radicals, that are produced during muscle stress. Think of these free radicals as tiny sparks that fly off the machinery in your cellular factories. A few sparks are normal, but if they aren't put out quickly, they can start fires. They can damage your mitochondria, damage your cellular membranes, and slow down energy production, which in turn amplifies muscle loss. By neutralizing these free radicals, the antioxidant compounds in spinach act like a sophisticated fire suppression system. They protect your mitochondrial DNA and keep your cellular engines running smoothly and cleanly for much longer. To bring this all together, let's use one more analogy. Think of your muscles as a complex orchestra. Protein provides the beautiful, expensive instruments, the violins, the cellos, the brass. But the micronutrients, the magnesium, the potassium, the antioxidants, they are the musicians, the skilled artists who know how to play those instruments. Without the musicians, the instruments just sit there on the stage, silent. The music, which is the biological symphony of repair and regeneration, never actually happens. Spinach is remarkable because it provides both the instruments in the form of amino acids and the full orchestra of micronutrients needed to ensure there is perfect harmony in your muscle recovery. And modern science is now connecting these specific micronutrients directly with improved muscle performance in aging adults. For instance, a major 2022 meta-analysis published in the journal Nutrients reviewed multiple studies and found that magnesium supplementation significantly improved both grip strength and lean muscle mass in older populations. Another study showed that dietary quercetin, one of those key antioxidants in spinach, reduced markers of inflammation and improved mitochondrial function after physical exertion. These effects in isolated studies perfectly mirror what we see holistically when older adults consume spinach regularly: better energy, faster recovery, and lower markers of oxidative stress. The beauty of getting these compounds from a whole food like spinach is that you're not just getting one thing. You're getting them all together in a balanced, synergistic form that your body recognizes and knows how to use with maximum efficiency. It's a powerful reminder that it's not just about eating more protein. It's about creating a better metabolic environment. It's about giving your cells the full toolkit they need to stay youthful and functional. Now, we have a complete picture of the nutritional side of things, but there's another crucial piece of the puzzle. Next, we will explore how we can combine this powerful plant-based nutrition with specific lifestyle triggers, known as hormetic stressors, to supercharge muscle growth and cellular renewal, even after 60. At this stage, you've seen how cellular nutrition, everything from amino acids to phytonutrients, can rebuild your muscle from the inside out. But there's another crucial piece of this puzzle, a piece that often determines whether your body actually uses that nutrition to grow stronger or simply stays the same. That piece is something called hormetic stress. Now, this concept might sound complex or even intimidating, but I promise you, it is beautifully simple and incredibly powerful. Hormesis refers to the idea that your body adapts and becomes more resilient when it's exposed to small, controlled doses of stress. It's the principle behind the old saying, "That which does not kill me makes me stronger." The combination of this hormetic stress with the kind of plant-powered nutrition we've been discussing is one of the most potent longevity tools available to anyone, at any age. Here's what happens at the cellular level. When you do something like lift a challenging weight, or sit in a hot sauna, or even take a cold shower, your body interprets that mild, temporary stress as a signal that it needs to adapt to be better prepared for the next time. In your muscles, this signal activates a whole cascade of beneficial responses. It turns on powerful repair pathways. It triggers the production of new mitochondria, and it boosts your body's own internal antioxidant defenses. It is the biological equivalent of telling your body's operating system that it's time to install an upgrade. Without these adaptive signals, even the absolute best diet in the world will struggle to create meaningful change. Because the stimulus, the reason for your body to change, is missing. You can provide all the building materials you want, but without the foreman shouting the order to build, the materials just sit there. Now, here is where the synergy becomes truly remarkable. When you combine these hormetic stressors with a nutrient-dense vegetable like spinach, something special happens. The phytonutrients and antioxidants in spinach are fantastic at reducing the chronic, low-grade inflammation that we want to get rid of. But they do not block the beneficial acute signaling that is triggered by healthy stress. This is a crucial mistake that many people make when they rely on high-dose synthetic antioxidant supplements. They can actually blunt the very signals for adaptation and growth that they are trying to encourage from their exercise. The natural antioxidants found in spinach are much smarter. They work in harmony with your body's natural rhythms. They help to lower the harmful background noise of chronic inflammation while allowing the short, sharp signal of acute stress to do its beneficial work. Let me give you a clear example. After a session of strength training, your body naturally produces a short burst of reactive oxygen species. This is a small amount of oxidative stress that actually acts as a vital signal to tell your muscles it's time to repair and get stronger. If you were to take a massive dose of a synthetic antioxidant right after, you could potentially wipe out that signal. However, the polyphenols and nitrates in spinach do something different. They enhance blood flow to deliver nutrients for recovery. They provide the magnesium for repair. And they help the mitochondria work more efficiently. They do all this without shutting off that beneficial hormetic adaptation. This creates what I like to call a smart recovery loop. Your cells experience the challenge, they get the signal to rebuild stronger, and then they immediately receive the precise nourishment they need to recover faster and more effectively than before. Sauna use works in a similar, powerful way. The heat exposure is a form of hormetic stress. It dramatically increases the production of something called heat shock proteins. These special proteins act like chaperones inside your cells, protecting other proteins from getting damaged or misfolded, which is a key part of maintaining muscle integrity as you age. Cold exposure, on the other hand, provides a different kind of hormetic stress. It boosts a hormone called norepinephrine, and it activates your brown fat, a special type of fat that actually helps to burn energy and regulate your metabolism and insulin sensitivity. When you pair these hormetic practices with a diet rich in things like magnesium and nitrates from spinach, you enhance your mitochondrial function even further. You're not just adding one benefit on top of another. You are creating a compounding effect on your longevity, your energy, and your strength. Let's use one final analogy to tie this all together. Think of hormetic stress, like resistance training, as the exercise for your cells. And think of a nutrient-dense food like spinach as the perfect recovery meal that your mitochondria have been waiting for. One challenges the system. The other rebuilds it, but rebuilds it smarter, cleaner, and stronger than it was before. Together, they form a powerful synergy that can quite literally turn back your biological clock at a cellular level. And the science fully supports this interplay. Cutting-edge research in top-tier journals like Cell Metabolism and the Journal of Applied Physiology has shown that combining nutrient-rich diets with these hormetic stressors amplifies mitochondrial biogenesis and muscle, protein synthesis in older adults far more effectively than either diet or exercise alone. It's the 1-2 punch that aging bodies need to spark regeneration. So, now we have all the pieces. We understand the problem, we know the nutritional solution, and we see how to amplify it with lifestyle. Up next, we're going to bring everything together into a practical, day-by-day blueprint. I'll show you exactly how to integrate this vegetable, these key lifestyle practices, and simple daily habits to reverse muscle loss naturally and sustain vibrant strength at any age. All right, now that we've journeyed through the deep science, the nutrients, and the stressors that influence muscle health after 60, it is time to bring all of this together. This is where science meets your daily life. Because knowledge is only powerful when it transforms how you eat, how you move, and how you recover. Let's build a clear, actionable blueprint that you can start using today. Let's begin with the foundation of everything: nutrition. The absolute key to reversing muscle loss is consistency. It's about feeding your body the right inputs at the right times and in the right combinations, day after day. A good general target for protein intake for adults over 60 looking to build muscle is around 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of your body weight spread throughout the day. Or, if you prefer pounds, that's roughly 0.5 to 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight. But as we've established, it's not just about hitting a number. It's about the quality and intelligence of that protein. The goal is to shift a significant portion of that intake away from a sole reliance on animal protein and toward plant-based sources, particularly our star player, spinach, and other dark leafy greens. Here is how you can make this incredibly practical. Let's start with breakfast. A fantastic way to begin your day is with a smoothie, but not a sugary, fruit-heavy one. A muscle-building, mitochondrial-boosting smoothie. Into your blender, add a large, generous handful of cooked or frozen spinach. Using it cooked or frozen helps to break down the oxalates and makes the nutrients more available. Then, add a scoop of a high-quality, clean plant-based protein powder. Look for one derived from sources like pea, hemp, or pumpkin seed. Finally, add a small source of healthy fat, like a tablespoon of almond butter or a quarter of an avocado. The healthy fat is crucial because it dramatically improves your body's absorption of the fat-soluble antioxidants in the spinach, like lutein and beta-carotene. This combination gives you everything you need. The protein provides the raw amino acids for muscle synthesis, and the spinach provides the micronutrients and nitrates to make the whole process more efficient. For your other meals, like lunch or dinner, think in combinations. Pair cooked spinach with legumes, things like lentils, chickpeas, or black beans. When you combine a leafy green like spinach with a legume, you create a complete amino acid profile that beautifully mimics the composition of animal protein. But you get it with a huge bonus of fiber, antioxidants, and a far greater micronutrient density. A simple, delicious, and powerful meal could be a lentil soup with a large amount of spinach wilted into it at the end, or a chickpea curry served over a bed of spinach. To enhance the benefits even further, dress your spinach dishes with a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil, some fresh garlic, and a squeeze of lemon juice. The healthy fats in the olive oil, the sulfur compounds in the garlic, and the vitamin C in the lemon all work together to enhance nitric oxide activity and improve the absorption of minerals like iron from the spinach. Next, let's layer in those powerful hormetic stressors. The most important one for muscle is resistance training. You must give your muscles a reason to grow. Aim for at least 3 sessions per week. This does not mean you have to become a bodybuilder. Even simple, consistent bodyweight movements can be incredibly effective. Things like squats, where you practice sitting down and standing up from a sturdy chair without using your hands, or wall push-ups, where you stand a few feet from a wall and press yourself away. Using resistance bands for rows or presses is another fantastic, low-impact option. The key is to challenge your muscles to the point of mild fatigue. After these intense sessions, it's the perfect time to have one of your nutrient-rich meals that includes spinach. This will provide the building blocks and the recovery tools your muscles are crying out for, maximizing the repair and mitochondrial biogenesis that the exercise just triggered. On your non-training days, you can integrate those other hormetic stressors like sauna or cold exposure. These don't have to be long, grueling sessions. A short sauna session of just 15 to 20 minutes is enough to stimulate those heat shock proteins. Or, for cold exposure, a brief cold shower, even just for 60 to 90 seconds at the end of your normal shower, can send a powerful adaptive signal to your mitochondria. These short exposures are fantastic for enhancing circulation, reducing that chronic background inflammation, and improving your insulin sensitivity, all of which are absolutely critical for preserving your precious lean muscle mass. And then there is the foundational pillar that supports all of this: sleep. Do not forget to sleep. It is not a luxury. It is a biological necessity for muscle repair. During the deep stages of sleep, your body releases its peak amount of growth hormone, and your muscle tissue undergoes its most active and important repair phase. Aim for a consistent 7 to 8 hours of high-quality sleep per night. To help with this, consider having your magnesium-rich spinach with your evening meal. Magnesium has a wonderful calming effect on the nervous system and can support the muscle relaxation needed for deep, restorative sleep. Finally, you need a way to track your progress, but I want you to shift your focus away from the number on the scale. Instead, monitor your progress through function. Track your strength, your endurance, and your energy levels. Ask yourself, is it getting easier to get up from my favorite chair? Can I carry the groceries from the car with more ease? Do I have more energy in the afternoon? Improved stamina, less fatigue, better posture, and a stronger sense of vitality. These are the true markers that your mitochondria and your muscle cells are responding. These are the signs that you are not just getting older, you are getting stronger. In summary, the path to reversing muscle loss is built on 3 pillars: nutrient intelligence, metabolic activation, and hormetic balance. Spinach sits right at the crossroads of all 3. It nourishes your cells, it signals your mitochondria, and it amplifies your body's incredible capacity to adapt and heal. Now that we have established a practical framework, let's look beneath the surface one last time into the deeper science that connects the preservation of your muscle with longevity itself. Because, as you'll see, maintaining strong, functional muscle after 60 is not just about mobility or appearance. It is about keeping your entire biological system youthful, communicative, and incredibly resilient. Here is what the most advanced research is now showing. Your muscle tissue is so much more than just a structural framework that moves your body around. It is a powerful and active endocrine organ. This means it functions much like your thyroid or your pancreas. It produces and releases its own powerful molecules into your bloodstream that communicate with the rest of your body. These molecules are called myokines. When you contract your muscles, whether you're lifting a weight or just going for a walk, these myokines are released, and they travel throughout your body, influencing your brain, your liver, your immune system, and even your fat cells. You can think of your muscle as a central communication hub that is constantly sending out messages that tell your body how to age. One of the most studied and exciting of these myokines is a molecule called irisin. Irisin is released during exercise and muscle contraction. One of its most amazing functions is that it helps to convert your standard white fat, the type that stores energy, into a more metabolically active type of fat called brown fat. This brown fat is special because it doesn't just store energy, it burns it to create heat. This process not only helps with weight regulation, but also dramatically supports better glucose control and insulin sensitivity throughout your entire body. When your muscle mass declines with age, your ability to produce irisin also declines. This drop in irisin signaling can accelerate metabolic dysfunction and systemic inflammation. This is a major reason why sarcopenia, the loss of muscle, is so often linked to a higher risk of frailty, cognitive decline, and many other chronic diseases of aging. It's not just about weak muscles. It's about a breakdown in your body's internal communication system. But here is where our nutrient synergy returns to the picture one last time. Vegetables like spinach don't just fuel the muscles so they can repair themselves. They also support this delicate myokine balance. The nitrate compounds, the magnesium, and the powerful antioxidants we've discussed all work together to enhance blood flow and oxygen delivery. This creates a healthier, more efficient environment in which your muscles can operate and release these vital signaling molecules. They keep your muscles talking effectively with all your other organs, maintaining a beautiful coordination across all your body's systems. This is what scientists are now calling the muscle longevity connection. It's the understanding that strong muscles mean so much more. They mean you have more mitochondrial density throughout your body. They mean you have lower chronic inflammation. And they mean you have improved metabolic flexibility, which is the crucial ability to switch efficiently between burning fats and carbohydrates for fuel. These traits, dense mitochondria, low inflammation, and metabolic flexibility, are the scientific definition of biological youth, no matter what your chronological age might be. Let me simplify this with one final example. Picture your entire body as a vast, sprawling city. Your muscles are the city's power grid. When that grid is strong, well-maintained, and well-fed with clean fuel, every single building in the city, your brain, your heart, your immune cells, receives a steady, reliable, clean source of energy. The city thrives. But when the power grid weakens, when it starts to fail, the entire city begins to flicker and decline. Blackouts become common. Communication breaks down. The city becomes vulnerable. Maintaining your muscle through nutrient-rich foods like spinach and through the hormetic activation of exercise is like constantly investing in and upgrading your city's power grid. It keeps that power grid alive, adaptive, and resilient, even decades later. And the emerging evidence for this connection is overwhelming. A major review study from 2020 published in Aging Research Reviews concluded that maintaining lean muscle mass is one of the single most powerful predictors of reduced mortality and extended health span. That means not just living longer, but living better for longer. Similarly, separate studies on dietary nitrate intake have shown that higher consumption of green leafy vegetables is associated with better mitochondrial function and even longer telomere length. Telomeres are the protective caps on the ends of our DNA, and their length is a key marker of slower cellular aging. So when you make the conscious choice to strengthen your muscles, you are doing so much more than just protecting your mobility. You are actively rewriting your body's longevity code. You are lowering inflammation, you are improving energy production, and you are sending powerful biochemical signals throughout your entire system that say, stay young, stay strong, stay resilient. We have journeyed through the deep science, the nutrition, and the lifestyle strategies that allow you to reverse muscle loss and reclaim your vitality. You made it. What you've just discovered isn't just a collection of tips about a single vegetable. You've learned how to reclaim control over your own biology, right from the cellular level. You now understand that the problem isn't just about protein, it's about anabolic resistance. And the solution lies in a smarter approach, using the dual power of spinach to both build and renew, and amplifying that with the synergy of hormetic stress and deep recovery. That is the power of reprogramming your body for strength. Now, I'm not asking you to change everything overnight. That's not how lasting change works. I'm asking you to do just one thing. Choose one actionable step from our blueprint and try it this week. Just one. Maybe it's adding a spinach-rich meal to your day. Maybe it's committing to 2 simple resistance workouts. Or perhaps just trying a brief cold shower. That small, single step, that is how every great transformation begins. And so we can build a strong community together on this journey. If you feel inspired to take that first step, please comment with the words, "Ready for action" below. I do read every single comment, and I would love to hear from you. Finally, please remember this. You are so much more powerful and resilient than you might believe. Your journey to reclaiming your vitality, your strength, and your independence has just begun. Please subscribe to the channel so we can continue to walk this path together.